So, does the COVID vaccine have potential dangerous side effects or not? What's the final answer? Well, after so many years, and this is the largest study done so far involving 99 million people, this is kind of the answer we have. Check this out.
It's a question so many people have wondered. Does the COVID-19 vaccine have an impact on my health? Now, the largest COVID study ever conducted is providing some answers. A link between the vaccine and heart and brain disorders has been uncovered.
Oh, no, you don't say. Oh, my. So, yeah. Yeah, people should really read the data sheet of whatever medication they're taking. That's usually good advice. I suggest you do that.
Researchers with Global COVID Vaccine Safety Project reached this conclusion after collecting data from nearly 100 million people across 8 different countries. Today I spoke with a local medical expert who says the COVID vaccine still outweighs the risks. We also talked to everyday people about their attitude toward getting the shot.
I'm going through a lot of mental and physical things now after, and it wasn't like that before.
Elizabeth Foster says she questions if the COVID-19 vaccine she took in 2020 has anything to do with the decline she says she's experiencing in her health. Foster's still digesting the new data released by the Global COVID Vaccine Safety Project, which studied nearly 100 million vaccinated individuals across 8 countries. The report specifically looked at the adverse effects of the Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca vaccines, finding the following. The study links vaccines to slight increases in neurological, blood, and heart-related conditions.
I mean, it's just your brain and your heart. It's not as if that's something you should be awfully worried about. No, so and there's a link, and it says there's slight increases. So it's a slight increase in neurological and blood and heart related conditions. Slight. No, it's just a slight little thing.
Like myocarditis, pericarditis, and Guillain-Barré syndrome. For instance, out of the more than 99 million people studied, researchers observed only 190 cases of Guillain-Barré syndrome in people who took the vaccine. Researchers stress the association between the vaccines and adverse side effects does not prove the vaccine was the root cause for the illness.
And I think what this study confirmed is pretty much what other smaller studies have said in the past, and that's the following. Number one, vaccines have risks. I think only a fool would say vaccines don't have risks.
Dr. Jonathan Cantor, who's an adjunct.
But if we've always known that, why is it that we're not even allowed to talk about that? I mean, only now it's the case that yes, and you have the little YouTube warning there, but we could not even talk about any of this. You were considered a crazy person, a conspiracy theorist, if you said something as obvious as, yes, all medications, all drugs involve some kind of risk. All of them. Why is it that with this one in particular, we're not even allowed to talk about? We're not even allowed to even say what the data sheet of the manufacturer, of the lab making it, say themselves. And this is what, forget about all of the conspiracy theories, all of the crazy talk. No, I'm talking about reading the data sheet of the lab that makes the damn thing. How many of you have actually read that? It's not that long. It's this big. It's just a few lines. It says all you need to know right there. Why is it that people don't read the crap out of the manufacturer themselves?
Scholar at the Penn Center for Clinical Epidemiology and Biostatistics reviewed the study and still contends the benefits of the vaccine outweigh the risks.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Cantor says the new research shouldn't erode anyone's trust in the vaccine, but instead prompt them to think about their own personal medical condition and their own need for protection. What do you say to those folks who might have said, hey, we knew the vaccine was dangerous all along? Now here's the proof.
There's no such thing as a drug that has an effect without a side effect. So everything has potential risk.
And there we go. Why is it that you strip away from us, for this specific case, the choice of I decide what risks I want to take or not. I decide what's best for my own health. I decide what's best for my kids. The idea that they would force a child to get this, knowing what we know, knowing the risk that COVID was for children, which, I mean, it's insane. It's crazy. It is out of a horror movie, the idea that they force little children to get this thing.
Problem is, what is the risk of the thing that you are trying to prevent? And that's where it comes into play. So, for example, if you have for parents, right, if you've got a healthy 3-year-old who's had COVID 4 times already, well, then I'd say, I don't know what the benefit is that you're going to get from getting that vaccine today. But if you tell me that you've got a 84-year-old in a nursing home that somehow came out of a time machine and
Okay, yeah, sure. So let's do this, Mr. I don't even know the guy's name. Let's do this. Let's keep this for the 89-year-old that comes out of a time machine. Do whatever it is you want with that guy. Leave my kids alone. How about that? Can we go with that?
is now entering the world in 2024 and has never had a COVID vaccine, well, for that person, I'd say, well, then we really have to think about whether a COVID vaccine makes sense for them.
And yes, you really should think about it, because based on what we have regarding the latest information, all I see is, as years go by, as months went by, what they originally said quickly changed. I remember a time in which they said it was 100% effective. 100% effective with no side effects. That's what they said at one point. Then they changed that. Then it was 90%, 70%. It kept on going down, and they reached a point in which even the labs themselves were saying that it was basically the same as natural immunity. That's what that's one of the final versions of what they were saying. It's the same as natural immunity, and some out there say that it's even better to have natural immunity. So what do you expect from people? What kind of trust do you expect from people when people have been lied to their faces so much, time and again? There's a big difference between 100% effective, 99% effective, 98% effective, to 50, to 30, or God knows what. Yet, that's what they did.
Since the COVID-19 pandemic began in March of 2020, nearly 7 million people have died across the globe from COVID-19.
And yet there's another one, because we have Fauci himself saying that it could have been the case that a man that died in a car crash could have gone into those statistics. If he was COVID positive and he died in a car crash, Fauci himself said, yeah, maybe he ended up as a COVID death. What kind of trust do you expect from people when you say things like that? When you admit to things like that? I'm no doctor here. I'm not providing any kind of medical advice. I'm just going by what they're saying regarding the largest study done so far. But I insist on it. Read the damn medical sheet. Read the damn information that Pfizer publishes themselves in their website regarding their product. If you're so stupid that you cannot go to the manufacturer of the medication, of the drug, and read what they have to say about their own product, if you're too stupid to open the little sheet of paper that comes with all medications and say exactly what it's supposed to do, what are the potential side effects, what are the things you should be careful about, what age group this medication is intended for. If you're too stupid to do any of that, well, I have nothing for you. I cannot give you any useful advice, okay? See you on the next one. Take care.